So today we're jumping into Ash Maurya's Running Lean. It's this fantastic framework for anyone who's ever had a big idea and wondered, how do I turn this into a real business that actually works? We're going to break down the mindsets and the tools that really separate the startups that make it from all the ones that, well, don't.
All right, to really get this, let's picture two entrepreneurs, Steve and Larry. They both start in the exact same spot. They've got a killer idea, they quit their day jobs, and they go all in. But fast forward just 1 year, and their worlds couldn't be more different. Steve? He's still stuck, still building, with zero revenue and working all alone. But Larry's got paying customers, his revenue is growing, and he's even hiring a team.
So what happened? What was the big difference maker here? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't about who was smarter or a better coder. It was all about their approach. To figure it out, we're going to follow our hero Steve and see exactly where things went sideways and what he should have done instead.
You see, Steve walked right into a super common trap, the build-first way of thinking. He was so in love with his solution, his product, that he just assumed, hey, if I build this amazing thing, of course people will come.
His first year tells a story that's probably all too familiar for a lot of founders. He jumps right into coding, but you know how it goes. Everything takes way longer than you think. He blows past his own launch date. He tries to get his friends on board, but they just don't get it. By month 9, he's pitching investors, and all he's getting back is crickets. A full year in, the money's gone, and he's back to freelancing just to pay the bills.
This is the line he keeps hearing from investors, but you gotta learn to translate investor speak. This is usually just a polite way of saying no. What they're really saying is they don't see any proof, any evidence at all that people actually want what he's building. All they see is risk.
And this puts Steve in a classic catch-22. He feels like he can't get funding until the product is done, but he can't finish the product without the funding. He's completely stuck. And that, right there, is the huge, fundamental flaw with the build-first approach.
Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about Larry. How did he avoid this whole mess? Well, Larry understood that the startup world has changed. He didn't start by writing code or building a fancy pitch deck. He started with a totally different mindset.
See, back in the day, you might have gotten funding for a cool idea or some clever tech. But now, building stuff is easier than ever. So what investors really care about today isn't your idea, it's traction. Traction is just a fancy word for hard evidence that real people are using and paying for your thing. It's proof that your business model actually works.
This was Larry's first big mindset shift, and it is a game changer. While Steve was obsessed with his solution, Larry got obsessed with his customer's problem. He knew that customers don't really care about your product, they care about their own headaches. If you can solve a burning problem for them, then you've got a business. Second, Larry understood that his job wasn't just to build the best solution. His job was to build the entire business model. Your solution is just one little piece of the puzzle. You also have to nail down who your customer is, how you're going to reach them, and, how you're going to make money. The whole system, that's the real product.
And third, Larry knew his finish line wasn't a product with a million features. The goal, the only goal that really mattered, was traction. Getting that real, measurable proof that customers were jumping on board. That's the only metric that truly counts.
So just look at this comparison. It shows you exactly how Larry completely flipped the old playbook on its head. Steve followed the classic build, then demo, then sell sequence. He wasted a whole year building something, hoping he could sell it later. Larry inverted it completely. Demo, sell, then build. He took all the risk out of the equation by proving people wanted it before he ever wrote a line of code.
Okay, so how did Larry actually pull this off? Well, I can tell you what he didn't do. He didn't lock himself away for months writing a 50-page business plan. For a startup, that's honestly one of the biggest wastes of time imaginable.
I mean, think about it. Those giant business plans take forever to write, nobody actually reads them, and they're full of wild guesses about the future that are wrong the second you talk to your first real customer. A static plan is the last thing you need when you should be learning and adapting as fast as possible.
Instead, Larry used this, the Lean Canvas. It's basically a one-page business model that forces you to break down your idea into all its most important assumptions: the problem, the solution, your customers, how you'll make money, you name it. It's a living, breathing document, not a static plan. And you want to know the best part? The part that sounds almost too good to be true? You can sketch out your first Lean Canvas in about 20 minutes. Seriously. The goal isn't to get it perfect, it's to get a quick snapshot of your business on a single page so you can immediately start testing it. 20 minutes versus 3 months?
It's a no-brainer.
But the Lean Canvas isn't just a document you fill out and then you're done. No way. It's the starting point for a whole new process. A step-by-step method for turning all those guesses on your canvas into cold, hard facts.
So here's how it works. You start by sketching your idea on the canvas. Then, and this is the most important part, you get out of the building and actually talk to customers to make sure the problem is real. Next, you create a simple offer, maybe just a demo or a landing page, to get real commitment from them, like a pre-order. And only then, after you've proven people will pay for it, do you actually build the minimum viable product.
The whole point of this process is to create what Ash Maurya calls a mafia offer. You know, an offer that's so good, so perfectly tuned to your customer's biggest pain point that they literally cannot refuse it. You're not pushing a product on them, they are pulling the solution from you. It's a huge difference.
So when you boil it all down, what's the core lesson here? What really is the thing that separates the Steves from the Larrys? It's not about just having a brilliant idea right out of the gate.
The difference wasn't skill, it was mindset. Steve was like an artist, totally in love with his creation. But Larry was an innovator, laser-focused on turning an idea into a real business by systematically killing risk and figuring out what people actually want.
And this brings us to the ultimate takeaway. In a world where anybody can build pretty much anything, your real, honest-to-goodness, unfair advantage is how fast you can learn. The team that outlearns everybody else is the team that wins. Period.
So I'll leave you with this question. Don't ask, can I build it? You probably can. Instead, ask yourself, what is the absolute riskiest assumption I'm making about my idea, and how can I test that right now for as cheap as possible? Making that little mental switch, that is the heart and soul of running lean.